But I'm sharing the agenda up on the screen right now. We have a couple of announcements and planning goals for today, so hopefully we'll be able to get through everything and more people will be able to join. But we have some gains talking and working with the youth crew, planning with Jimmy and Virginia last week. So we'll share some of that information and then kind of end on some more opportunities that are presenting themselves. But that youth program is coming up in 2 weeks. So I know that's one of the things we had on our agenda to really kind of share across the board, since, like I said, we worked with ODY previously. So before we begin, does anybody have any announcements? Okay, one announcement is we did get connected into Viva Connects through our connections with PRC. And so they're going to feature our project in their next newsletter, which I think is pretty cool. They were the ones who really kind of helped introduce us to a larger network throughout the state and kind of realizing similar goals of different communities. And we've been working with a lady named Laurel, who's been kind of coordinating all that stuff, but I think it's been a good resource. She had put us on a emailing list, which shares information about opportunities. I think that's how we heard about the economic development grant. So it's a good connection to have, and they're going to be featuring us in their next publication, which is cool. I'll be sure to share that with everyone whenever it gets released. If that's all, then I do want to provide some updates to everybody, and I hope some people from the chapter could chime in, or I guess tune in soon, just because we're going to have some opportunities to make some purchases really quick to start utilizing the Clean and Beautiful grant that we had received. I think they had announced it a few last month or a few months ago, but we were granted $19,000. And so we're going to be utilizing those funds to do some community cleanups, but then also really kind of help start and launch this trail network that we have. And so
he's gonna be back.
They're going to be releasing the grant agreement, I believe, to either me or Aaron from the chapter. And after we get that signed and it goes through their internal process, they're going to be able to distribute 50% of the funds that were allocated towards that grant. And I know a big part of that was the signage. We're going to have two, the first being the trailhead sign, but then also a way to engage the community and then hopefully have people adopt certain sections of the trail, have mile markers or directional signs that are sponsored by whatever organization. So I think that's something that we wanted to get going right away so we could have people maintain and kind of steward certain sections of the trail, but then as a way to really engage the community as well, and getting them involved with this project again. So like I said, 50% up front, we're going to probably make those requests because I know that part of the training that's going to take place with ODY and what Attila is going to be doing workshops on is the trail remediation, but then also signage and sign installation. And so, you know, I think that's something that's going to be coming up quick, and hopefully we could work with Aaron and getting that grant agreement through, and then we could really get this going. So I want to share my screen really quick outside of this agenda because several of us do have access to this portal. But what we're going to have to be doing is keeping milestones. I think it's quarterly, actually. So we're going to have to make our first report in October about gains we've been making. And through this portal, which you'll see here, is where we'd be able to upload the grant and then the different purchases we make. But each of our goals are detailed in here. And you'll see, for example, end littering was one of our objectives. And part of this was getting the bins into town, having a community-wide effort toward cleaning up. and dumping biggest things as big as couches, whatever it might be, but having community cleanups. And then as part of that was the signage to adopt a trail. So within this, we have different goals or objectives we need to be able to meet by that first date. Since we did have planned within there a community cleanup type of event, which I know Felicia and Rita and everybody with the chapter already do this anyways. We'll just be aligning it with that. But we have certain goals or measures attached to each of those that we're also going to have to start monitoring. For instance, we're talking about the Adopt a Trail. By second quarter, have at least 4 organizations committed to maintaining a certain part of the trail. If we have that cleanup, how many pounds of garbage or trash are we collecting? Those types of things are what we're going to have to start having on our radar. So I think those are the first things that we're going to really try to plan with. The Crown Point Community Watch and Awareness Group, who had coordinated the April cleanup. But that's going to be something that we want to be able to get going at least by August, which is already right around the corner as well. But you'll see that we have that detailed, and we do have different people who have access to this that you'll see over here when we're doing the editing. But it'd be nice if we kind of start collectively start thinking about these and how we could fulfill them. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that Clean and Beautiful grant? They had a nice presentation today by the person who was overseeing the entire grant, and she shared a link on what the presentation was. So I'll be able to share that with everybody after this when I share the video of this recording, so everyone's on the same page. Were there any questions about that?
Daniel, is there another organization, club, anything?
Oop, I think you're on mute, Attila.
Shouldn't be. It's not me.
I can hear you, Attila.
Okay. Am I there, Daniel?
Let's see if I can unmute you.
I can hear you too.
Same here.
Okay, my apologies.
So the question is there another club or organization that could take lead on this versus us 6 who have a million other things to do on the trail part of this thing?
What is that for, Attila? I'm sorry, I missed the first part of it.
The Clean and Beautiful grant. It seems like if there's a clean committee or something on Crown Point that could take more responsibility and the metrics on this and reporting versus the 6 of us. It seems to be
right. Yeah, I think the main person we were thinking about working through that was the Crown Point chapter with Rita and the Crown Point Community Watch and Awareness Group.
Yep.
They were the ones who had organized the entire Earth Day event back on Earth Day. And so they have the contacts for getting the bins out. They have the means to coordinate IHS and whoever who had participated before. I think they did sign-ins and things like that. So I think those types of things would be perfect for them to kind of just run with. So I'm hoping to coordinate and get on the next chapter meeting to announce that. And then hopefully, I see Felicia's on right now. But we'd like to work through that group since they already have all the resources and all the ins on how to make it work. I think our participation would just be, hey, we have these funds. We can get a bin out here. We're also going to be able to purchase, I think, vests. Those trash picker uppers, I think we even got out of it, but I think we would just mainly be, we have all the means. How do we plan this as a community now? And I think the best way to would be to work through that Crown Point Community Watch and Awareness Group. The other stuff, such as the posts, I think we could take the lead on that just because we're going to have to eventually find out where they go based on our planning.
Yep.
And we're talking about fleshing out that plan. The comprehensive plan we've been working on.
Agreed.
Yeah, so Felicia, are you on? Do you know when the next chapter meeting is where we could get on the agenda and propose this?
Yeah, I sent the next regular chapter meeting, but I can send the August planning meeting. I can send that.
Okay, cool.
In the chat. It should be August 3rd. It'll be August 3rd and the same call-in number, the same PIN number, and I'll write it in the chat.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Because if we're reporting October 1st, even if we make that announcement and get everybody on board by August 3rd, maybe we could have it September 3rd or afterwards, which would give a good month of letting people know, having meetings, and then hopefully doing the procurement through the chapter to purchase the bin, to purchase the supplies, etc. So I'm not sure if I have to be on that agenda or if we could just get on Felicia, but I'll work with Leonard.
It should be the planning meeting on August 3rd.
Okay, planning meeting August.
I don't know if you want to just mention it real quick at the regular chapter meeting and then say you'll do an add-on at the planning meeting.
Yeah, I'll do both, I think. That'd
Okay.
probably be the best.
Okay.
And that those call-in numbers for everyone is in the chat. So if you wanted to participate as well, they're there. Cool. So that's going to be coming unfolding here. Other things that were attached to that was the mural. So if we could, have an event or a community event, maybe that's attached with the cleanup, or once we first do our first sign installation, oh my gosh, then we'll be able to do things like the mural, or the trash bin was a part of that. So anyway, we could line that with current activities we're doing. I think that would just kind of amplify them and, have more people participate, and it'd be more community investment. The next thing on the schedule is the youth employment program. Like I said, we had a nice little work session with Jimmy and Virginia and crew last Monday, where we detailed out a schedule. And I'm gonna just do an overview really quick of it. And then I'll let Virginia and Attila or whoever take over and what else is needed. But let me stop sharing this really quick. We have the schedule first is what we had detailed. So this is going to be a program running from July 19th to August 5th. So a 3-week work program, whereas the first week is really kind of geared towards orienting the students to the trail system, but then infusing different types of presentations that enhance what's special about the Trails Network, such as using the clan or having the history accentuated within different narratives or storytelling techniques. So that first week, which you'll see highlighted here, was really mainly geared towards introducing the workers, getting them out on the trails. We had that workbook that we had people go out and mark up and say, we would like to see the amenities here. A lot of that would be planned within this programming. But then also, Sheldon and PRC had mentioned coming out and doing a presentation on physical mental health, but that was basically the first week. Second week would be really intensive on getting people out on the trail with Attila, and then learning about trail remediation, the different tools, safety precautions, and then actually getting them out there and start thinking about getting in a sign or doing a quick erosion control improvement. That week is really kind of the hands-on, but we did have some commitments from some partners, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then wrapping it up the last week with, applying what Attila teaches that second week with Jimmy, but then also pairing them with professionals in the industry. We were talking about how could we use this program that could lead to careers, internships, whatever it might be. So we did have some confirmation through some contacts Attila had with National Park Service from this gentleman named Jeremiah Rising Buffalo, maybe, where he could come out and do a presentation on storytelling or public speaking. Chaz Robles from Ancestral Lands, Attila was also able to put us in contact with them. And they were talking about having presentations and careers coming, or a person coming out and presenting on career options. And then lastly, I think our last person outside of our group of having a demonstration was working with Navajo Nation Special Diabetes Project, and then AJ Murphy, and doing some type of presentation on outdoor rec or biking. And AJ did confirm that if he has noticed, he could come out and take the day off to give a presentation. We were working with Navajo Nation Special Diabetes Project and getting in contact with their bikes and then maybe helmets. So then we could also do a ride, which AJ was also willing to help out with too. So that's the summer program and the schedule of what we're going to be doing. It's really in building up to this day on August 5th and having the students present what they learned, maybe invite their parents or community members to come in and showcase a temporary sign that we're talking about putting up, or presenting on one of the things they've learned throughout the duration of the program. But then they would end on that 5th. So that's a quick overview of what the 3 weeks would entail. I'm not sure if anybody has any other questions or wants to contribute any other bits of information. The last thing I do want to say before I open it up is that we did have a generous donor kind of come in and would be willing to take and pay for the tools to get these activities going. So we're hoping to get that through. They're in contact with the chapter and getting the check through. But hopefully once that's in place, we could purchase all the tools we had detailed in the Healthy Place or the Viva Connects grant, the mini grant. But that might take some time. And if it doesn't, Attila was able to set up a backup plan through Ancestral Lands. And so they'd be willing to lend out 2 pickmatics, 2 shovels, 2 everything. I am in the process of picking them up on that Friday, which I think is July 23rd, to have it ready by the 26th. So if we don't get those tools in by that date, we'll at least have that as a backup plan. So that's the last bit of information I wanted to put out there about that. But we should have the youth have some tools ready to go and actually apply what we're teaching as part of this. So any questions on that?
Yeah, I would think, Daniel, you want to get those tools from Ancestral Lands because there are very few suppliers for McLeod's in, I don't think there's any in New Mexico. So having those shipped in, timing it takes to get a procurement system done through the chapter, and I think you're going to be screwed. So I would take the tools from Ancestral Lands. If you need more, the Forest Service Mount Taylor District also offered tools. So we have 2 sources for tools, which I think we just want to use and just get that confirmed with Chaz and the other person and go that route.
Hi, everyone. This is Sheldon. I just wanted to confirm that we will be in Crown Point next Thursday to do the presentation on physical activity, mental health, and brain health as well. So we are working on our presentation. We had a run through this week, so I'm pretty excited to do that with the summer youth employees next Thursday. I think Felicia had mentioned she asked me to present to the youth at the chapter house on Thursday as well from 1 to 3. I barely saw your chat, Felicia, at the end of the call last week. So I just wanted to confirm that I can also do that as well. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Sheldon, so you'll be with the our program in the morning?
Yes, I'll be with the ODY in the morning from 10 to, was it 10 to 12? I think it was from 10 to 12, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And then the other question, Daniel, you were able to talk to AJ regarding, he wanted a letter or something from us, or maybe an agenda for August 4th, so he can request for leave. I guess he has a new job or something like that. And he wanted something in documentation that he can give to his boss so he can request for leave on August 4th. I just told him I would bring it up to you.
Okay, yeah, we could get that together. I think now that the main thing we wanted to do is confirm that each of these is okay with you guys, Virginia. You know, if this is a
I'm
good
good.
outline.
Yeah, I'm good with it. So we've been advertising, and I was hoping that we would have some female workers, but most of them are male. And we were stating that we wanted 3, but we have a lot of kids wanting to work. So today's the at 5 o'clock is the deadline date. So whoever turns in their application will probably be considered for employment. So we're looking at least five or six kids that will be part of the program. And I guess, I don't know, I think a lot of the kids are like, kind of like, were freaking out because it was going to be outdoor work, but we did tell them that we're working with all of, everybody that's been on this, the Zoom meetings. And we told them that they're going to be out there at least 6 hours and 2 hours of presentations and stuff like that. But it's a really good program. I just told them that, a lot of it had to do with just learning about conservation, maybe even range management. We have people coming in to present. And so it's not always just going to be work, but a lot of, and some career planning that, kind of went over that with them. And some wanted to know how much are we getting paid? And I told them, I said, well, if you're going to work, I'll let you know. So either you accept it or not. And there was one kid that was saying it because he's going to be hired at one of the chapters. And I said, well, if you go to the chapter, that's okay. If you come over here, it's okay. But I'm not going to tell you how much we're going to pay you until you tell us. I want to hear that commitment. And he just started laughing and he just, okay, I'll go with your program. Then I told him how much they were getting paid. So I guess that was a good choice. but anyway, we'll be ready. So Monday in the morning, Jimmy and I will be doing our orientation, walking through everything, our expectation of them. And so I think we got a good crew of kids that are going to be working for us.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me on week 2, let me just say that the afternoon is actually, tool use demo is a tool safety presentation, and then we're going to go right to work in the afternoon. So they'll be practicing the tools, practice how they use them, the safety issues, that's part of it. But after we finish on the 26th, I will stay on that trail, and I'm going to come up with a detailed prescription of what improvements could occur on the trail that wouldn't be ruined by continued motorized use. Since you haven't closed it off to motorized use yet, there's no sense in doing stuff that will get driven over and damaged immediately. But one question I have is that back along that fence line from the housing, we were going to bypass a steep part of the trail and create new trail on that. And I don't know if you need to follow the compliance process to construct new trail on that, Virginia, since it's tribal land, regarding any culture resource assessments, natural resource assessments, those sort of things, before we do any work on it.
So wherever we went already, we already had our environmental assessment surveys, geo surveys. Everything's been completed already.
Okay. So nothing was going to be critical that if we, okay, good to know.
No.
All right. So I will do a detailed prescription that will lay out the drainage control stuff that Jimmy can supervise. And then, so I'll do that in the evening after I finish with the youth, then spend all day with them on the 27th, working on different projects. In the morning of the 28th, I'll probably go over all the other things that they could work on with Jimmy. So there's consistency of what the tasks are they can work on, how much time is going to be take those tasks on it. So that's my 3 days. And then, so they can continue working on that on the 29th. So it's just kind of trail loop related, erosion control, signage, whatever it might be. That's all kind of flexible. And then quickly on the presentation on careers, Arnold Wilson from Mount Taylor Ranger District is also willing to travel out to do a presentation to the youth from the Forest Service perspective.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So we can, and I think he's Navajo. I'm not sure which client he's with or anything, but he's a longtime Mount Taylor District staff person. I was on a fire crew with him in 1987. So we know each other. He's offered to help. He's excited about it. So we want to get with him and coordinate with him and Chaz, who's going to come out from on that. I don't think I can make all those days. I'm going to be traveling to T or C on the 5th and 6th or the 4th. So it's kind of slammed for my time. Jeremiah Rising Buffalo Maybe is Arapaho Seneca, and he is a lead interpreter at Chaco Culture. So a couple things with him in mind. I'm thinking if he can do the public speaking, he can do the interpretation. So, you know, maybe you guys should go out to one of the overlook ideas or the Wayfind exhibit locations with him and talk about what kind of stories should be told. And I mentioned to Leonard was going to give us those key stories, key themes, interpretive themes for our trail system, and sharing those and talking about how these kids would tell those stories would be a good part of the day for Jeremiah. And another key thing is, I think there's an opportunity for him to meet people at the university while he's there about interpretive training, travel guide stuff. I think I can see a big benefit of improving that relationship with the Park Service, Chaco, and you guys as a gateway community. So take advantage of his time that day.
Yeah, you'll see on my screen, I started sharing his email. I wanted to present this just to, because I think we should collectively, you know, invite him over and, you know, give the okay, but he has extensive experience, and especially working with youth, being able to tell and own stories, but then also open up to different worldviews. So I think he would be a good resource, Virginia, when we do that storytelling. And then if you noticed on the schedule that I had posted, we had little opportunities. So if there's downtime, perhaps where they're just like, all right, we got done working or whatever, you know, every week giving them something where they could take home too. So if they wanted to fill in that, writing a little bit about clans, if they learn about clans or the unique piece of Crown Point's history that Leonard was giving the presentation for. The second week, if they're talking about rules or regulation or things that are going to happen on the map, you know, I think that would be good opportunities where they could use this information to help contribute to the trails outside of actually being outside or whatever it might be.
So is Leonard gonna be doing any presentations? Because I don't see his name anywhere.
Well, he was scheduled for this day, but he said they're having a chapter meeting or something. So I was going to do an abbreviated one. And the thing I have up in the air, because I haven't heard back, is this clan presentation. So if they don't get back to me, then I was thinking that he's available on the 21st. I was going to do abbreviated history because I only know so much, but his I know is really in depth. So I'm thinking we could probably plug him in here on the
If
20th.
not, Jimmy knows a lot about it too.
Okay, cool. Let me just
Or
put
see if he's available in the 2nd to tag team with Rising Buffalo. And then Leonard could take him out to that overlook and you could talk about Towering House or Muddy Waters and other, you know, key stories there and see how to tell those stories to the public. So.
Okay. What I'll do, Virginia, is I'll really flush this out in addition to putting together that memo for AJ explaining that specific day, which would be down here.
Yeah.
But I'll put this out so it could maybe be a handout for when you and Jimmy are doing the orientation in the morning. They'll know
Okay,
visually.
that would be good.
Okay. But we did receive other confirmations, Navajo Nation climate change, so they could come out. So if it links somehow, Attila, with the end of your presentations this week, where if you end on erosion control, they could pick that up and then run with it once you're gone, which is that Thursday, I think it was. So
yeah,
these guys are confirmed as well. Other thing wanted to see, because I see that Josh is here, is that after this, if we could somehow, what we had applied for through the New Mexico Equity Grant was to hire youth workers to do digital documentations of everything we're doing. and establish an online presence for this work. So there's a website, but then social media pages that document these histories, that document whatever this work. Here's how you work with the Picmatic, or here's what a MacLeod is and why it takes more than a month to order because they're on whatever, they could do little narratives with that. But as a result of all of this work is we wanted to continue hiring at least 2 different workers who throughout the year could document these things or continue the work. So if you wanted to start thinking beyond this, I think those are ways we can leverage the storytellings. So if maybe we continue some of these workers on beyond August 4th, and then they learn how to use TikTok, it would be nice if we could bring you in, Josh, to show how to put that together or whatever it might be. So this is just temporary, but I think the goal long-term is how do you extend it throughout the year and provide opportunities for these youth to make money? Because I think we had requested for these youth to have an iPhone with fully equipped with everything, but then give them a $200 stipend each month to go out and collect these stories and tell them. So just something to keep on in the back of your mind. So cool. Thanks, Josh.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me go back to the agenda. So we talked about the schedules, we talked about the different workshops, the tools, and then these partners. I can't believe it's already next week. When you guys are all mentioning next week, I was like, what? So I'll be ready by Monday too. But just notify anybody that you saw on that schedule who wasn't here, like Leonard. But that's going to be a good program, I think, and I think we'll be able to get a lot of work done. The last thing I have on here is this outdoor recreation trails grant. This just opened up today, and this is in collaboration with the State of New Mexico Department of Tourism. And we were talking about how this could be a good opportunity for us to extend our trail system with surfacing or landscaping if we're doing trees, things like that. I think we should collectively start thinking of this as a group. If it's not surfacing your signage, maybe investing in biking. I know we were talking about getting that in for the outdoor equity grant, was being able to develop programming and then also put in a pump track to get youth involved with biking and getting them to know the basics and getting it going. But this could be a good opportunity for us to go after those types of funds or initiatives. So I want to open it up again to the group because this is a good opportunity where we could either contribute to the infrastructure of this trail system, or if we're talking about engaging the community, possibly in implementing programming, and that could be towards healthy places, healthy people types of initiatives. It could be towards, biking, as I was mentioning with Sylvia last time, is that they have all those bikes and then NTU's doing their cycling program. Does anybody have any thoughts on this and directions about how we could approach it or what we should start focusing on?
Daniel, do you think this would be a good opportunity to do the bike rodeo? Because we did mention the bike rodeo previously, but we haven't really talked more about the bike rodeo.
I think it could be. I'd have to look at the grant outlines. I think it's just anything trail related. But if we could tie that in and to be kind of the launch, I think that could be an option. I'm not sure if it closes. I know it's opening just now. It might be open for another month. But then however long it takes to receive the grant and then award it and then distribute the funds, I'm not sure if that's something that's going to be distributed towards like November or December, and if that would be worth it, but it could be an option, I think. Let me see if I could pull up the website if anyone else has any input or wants to say anything else about what we could do with these funds.
This is Latasha. I think the surfacing and the signage is one of the important parts of this trail grant. I think adding more signage to maybe 1 or 2 of the trails that we have started would be really great, like motivational signage or like, little things like that. I think that would make a great benefit. And then also surfacing like some areas of the trail might need major work. For example, like rerouting several parts of the trail to make it easier and for people to walk on. So I think this grant would really be used towards trail improvement as well.
Thank you, Latasha. You'll see here up on the screen, this is their cycle. So opening July 9th through the August 31st. And here's everything it's geared towards, which is access to outdoors, focusing on trails, which includes infrastructure, special projects, shovel-ready projects that directly add to the access. So if we were to take that route as well, which I think would be great, we could expand on the current work of ODY. So say they're doing this simple trail remediations with the tiller right now, but if we focus on getting the surfacing, because a big part of what we wanted for this trail was everyone to be able to use it and not worry about falling, whether you're an elder or a youth. We're talking about spacing and being able to walk side by people. Those things could be enhanced by that surfacing, which was mentioned in, I think motivational signs is a good way to make that case for the healthy activity. So that's something that could definitely align and could build on the ODY trail. Anybody else?
I think bike rodeo could be a programming element. So if you're, before kids are going to ride trails, they have to know how to ride the trails. So having the rodeo or the pump track or clinics support the trail development. This is a case what happened in the Gallup, the Brickyard Bike Park, was they spent $800,000 on that project. No kids use it because no one thought to train the kids how to ride trails like that. So it's pretty important to put that programming piece into it. And as I've harped on, that you have to have programming, policy, promotion, physical project to be successful. And I think you could sell it that way, that we need all these pieces in this. Yeah, this one is not, is this kind of gearing towards community? I know they have other grants that gear towards tourism related stuff, but you can look at this one as how does it support local community? And if you ever do get your hotel in town, what kind of experience would you want visitors to have on trails? Where would you want them to go? That could be part of this grant as well.
So Daniel, I was a reviewer for them last time. And I think that everything that Crown Point is doing is going to fit right in and be an exciting application, but it is pretty competitive because a lot of communities go for this. So I think that the emphasis on improving the community and making walking and hiking and other outdoor kinds of things accessible to everybody is really what they're looking for, I think.
And it talks about a one-to-one match. So one thing that the chapter could do or your roads department could do is actually put in those barricades on some of those mesas to keep vehicles off of the things we're improving. That'd be a fantastic match. And that's just heavy equipment and rocks or boulders that you probably have surplus somewhere in storage that you could barricade with or build berms or whatever.
Yeah, I think this is something, because it is going to have to go through the chapter. Is that when we do present the clean and beautiful objectives of how we're going to try to do the community cleanup, I'll also present this as an opportunity, since I think we do have some time. I think August 31st was the deadline. So just to get the approval and make sure that these are things that the chapter would be interested in as well. I think that would be the first step, but it could definitely be something that we can pursue. And like Sally said, I think we have a strong case. It's just how do we frame it? I know that Mike White, the guy from the Cantina Foundation, who had joined us, he said he'd be up for reviewing it and helping out with shaping that. But one of his recommendations was not only doing the infrastructure end of it, but pairing that with programming, which would be impactful into making that link. So I'm sure we could develop a nice, strong program that's a combination of both infrastructure, whether that's getting the barricades up or doing some type of surfacing. The chapter did get a heavy equipment backloader, all that kind of stuff. So I think that they could probably help out if possible, and that could be the matching, Felicia, potentially, that we could inquire about. But I'll present it to the chapter first, and then we could see which way we go. But I think everything mentioned here could be a good start of how to approach that and see if that would align with what they're trying to do as well. So any other questions on that or comments?
But Daniel, just to let you know, wherever you need us to help, I'm willing to help, because I think that improvement really needs to be made in our community, and we just all need to do what we need to do to make it better and more enjoyable and getting our kids back out there. You know, we had a whole year of pandemic, and we're all facing mental health, I guess, in you know, with our kids, with our elders. And so we need to go back out, and I'm thinking about all the stuff that's going on right now. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for your contribution to our community. And, you know, I really would like to see more people back out again. And I really want to promote the ODY trail. And, you know, talking to some of the parents, you know, they were wanting to know what their child's going to be working on. And I told them, I said, they're going to be building the ODY trail. And they were, wow, you know, and the parents were really excited about it, and, you know, just letting them know who's all involved in it. So, you know, these parents are going to get to see and know that their child had and has made a contribution to the community by, you know, making this trail happen and having our community people walk through. Even at the end, you know, I was thinking maybe we could even do a one-day event where we get people to walk and maybe give them a t-shirt and come up with an ODY trail or something with a motivational quote on the back of the t-shirt or something. And we can put all our logos on there, everybody that contribute. And I'm willing to spend money on that to give it all out to our walkers or runners, whoever wants to be a participant that day, just to promote it, you know, and because of the hard work that's been put into it. So I'm talking.
No, thank you, Virginia. I think I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody, but I think the main thing is that we want more youth involved throughout the entire process. And I know Jimmy had mentioned that there's a youth council even that you guys were working with, you know, how can we involve them more, or be more present with what they're doing? I think as much as we could have youth involvement throughout this, because they're going to be the ones that are taking care of it, or the ones that you're saying could contributed to it, and then they take ownership of it, and then they maybe not spray paint or damn it, you know, they take better ownership of it. So any way we could keep you involved throughout would be great. And I think that's what's going to keep this trail going well into the future, is their investment. So any way we could collaborate, I think that is great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Virginia, were you able to procure any 4x4 posts?
No, nothing from them. I see a bunch of them lying around on their premises, so I'm thinking of talking to Reuven instead of Orville. I see it laying around in their yard, so I'll keep at it. If not, then I think we can buy it.
Okay,
Okay, well, that's everything else we had on the plate. If there's no other questions or concerns, these are the dates that Felicia shared if anyone wants to attend. I'm going to be attending this meeting on the 20th, which is at noon, which, you know, I'm not going to be working with the kids at that time, so hopefully I could get on and then at least announce it. If not, for sure, the planning meeting on the, so you have them both for the 20th. Felicia, what was the date again? August 3rd?
Third,
Have-
third, I think I saw.
In the chat, I put August 3rd.
Okay,
That's the planning meeting, August 3rd, 12 noon, same call-in number, same PIN number.
okay.
Dana had a question. Did you get our memo regarding approval of storage for the tools?
I didn't, I wasn't sure if Aaron had sent that directly.
Yeah,
to the
I
person.
sent it to your email like around 11 o'clock today. So he did say we have storage available to store the tools in our on our compound.
Okay. If I think it might have went to my NTU email, which I don't have access to right now. So
Let me forward it to the other one because I had to find your other email address.
okay,
I'll send it again.
okay, cool. Yeah, that was the last thing that they were waiting on, the private donor. So we should be getting that through, and then hopefully we could purchase those tools as much as possible. But I'll go ahead and still work with Chaz in getting the tools on rental, which we could use for programming. But those tools that we're going to be getting will be used for future work as we continue this project into this future. So it's good that you got that squared away. Thank you, Felicia.
Yeah, and thanks for doing it right away, because I know that the Albuquerque Community Foundation, that's the agency that's working with the PRC on making sure that Crown Point gets this donation, and they wanted to, that one of the things was, is there a secure place to keep the tools? Because the tools can last for a very long time if they're if they're protected and taken care of. And so I think that that was one of the things that the foundation, besides the tax number and all of the other stuff that they need to have on file. So thank you for doing it in a hurry and getting that done, because those are the things that delay getting the tools, is just the little pieces of paperwork. And Daniel, I just wanted to say that on this other one, the recreation that comes from Outdoor Recreation, New Mexico, that I know that you know this, and I know everybody on the call knows it, but the sooner you get started on that, because it's quite a lot of things to include. And so it takes longer than we always think it's going to take. So I just want to encourage everybody that it's one of those, jump on it right now and move on it. And whatever we can do at the PRC, Sheldon, Latasha, and the rest of our crew, just let us know. And I'm going to pull out my files from last year. I know that several pueblos, no Navajo that I know of got any funding, but several pueblos did, for improving trails and picnic areas and other kinds of outdoor recreation. And Silver City were also a recipient. So, and they had youth actually take people, when they had their event, they had the youth that had worked on the trails be the guides to take people on, to show them and tell them about the trails. So the thing with youth works really closely. So thanks for letting me bump in here at the end.
No, thank you, Sally. I did have one question. Since the chapter did have storage and we did factor in storage to purchase a shed for that money, will that be adjusted, or how should we handle that?
Sure, I think we can just talk that out. Just let me know what.
I suggest a locker in that storage, because even if they're in storage, you know, they may still grow feet in that storage area and walk off on the project that's a chapter project and then end up in someone else's tool cache. So I'd suggest we get a metal locker or something, or a tool chest to store them in within the storage area, so only ODY has access to them.
It's amazing how they get borrowed and then never get returned.
Right.
And those tools, they're so amazing. I have to tell you that I got a McLeod for my birthday. I love that tool. So yeah,
Too, is it not?
those are really nice tools, and just thinking ahead about keeping them safe is important. But Daniel, any kind of modifications, just let me know. We can work on it.
Okay.
This is actually, I'll give a little more information. The PRC, the Viva Connect, did approve the application that Daniel put in for Crown Point. It's just that there were a ton of applications. And so when we got down to the very little money that we had from the health department, it wasn't quite enough to go around. And so we were able, because the Crown Point project is so exciting, we were able to get a private donor through the Albuquerque Community Foundation to say, I will fund that project. So it's still a part of the network. And so Daniel and others will be invited to all of the events and all of the sharing of information across all of the Viva Connects projects. So I hope that was okay, Daniel, for me to share all that other background stuff.
No, it's good. I think
Thanks for making it happen.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, well, that appears to be everything, everybody. Since we're going to be doing this youth program for the next 3 weeks, I don't think we'll have a meeting, but I will be in contact by email, reporting on what happens at the chapter meeting, and then once we go to the planning meeting, updating everyone about pursuing the next funding opportunity. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, just send us an email. Virginia, I'll be over probably by 11 on Monday, if that's okay, just to set up for the presentation and get them ready to take them out for their first loop. But I'll send the schedule and then that memo by tomorrow, I believe.
Hey, maybe one last communication strategy. Do you think once these kids are working, the radio station will come out and do a site interview with them, or you know, the kids have a feature story in your local newspaper or other kind of media to give them some, you know, kudos for being good community members and, you know, kind of push that stewardship message. So I wonder if you can factor that into it.
Caitlin's on the call and she volunteers with the radio station. Would it be possible for us to take them over there, or have somebody come out with your remote equipment and interview them?
I think that would be cool, Daniel, if they could come out. And I was thinking, would it maybe even inviting Navajo Times or either Independent, Gallup Independent, and come and do a coverage on these kids? Like,
Yes.
we do have kids that want that do work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Another thing to think about, and I think we talked about this on another call, but that is having a sign somewhere that says who participated in making the trail posted. That's been really, really responsive in some of our other communities, that the parents were thrilled that their kids were recognized for helping build the trail. The kids were excited. So it's up to the individual community, because sometimes people say, we don't want to give too much credit to the kids. But I think that given this situation, you may want to think about that. Just a little sign that says this trail was developed or maintained by the following people during the Summer Youth Corps project, etc.
Yep.
Or even like the last day when they're doing their presentations, you can go like Facebook Live so we can get a larger amount of people to watch it. I don't know if that's a possibility as well.
That would be good. Wait, real quick, I was gonna say, Daniel, can we have at least one more meeting during this time so we can all decide what we want to do on the last day?
Yeah,
Maybe
we could do it probably one that fits. It won't be probably like this whole everyone's meetings, but if we have, kind of how we did that work session last Monday. Looking at the schedule, it might be because Attila's gonna be doing,
Yeah, I can't make it back that day because I have other commitments.
right. Because Sheldon's not coming by the until the 10 a.m. on the 5th, or was it the 5th? What day was it? The 29th? Or the 22nd? He's coming.
22nd.
He's coming at 10 a.m. Maybe at 9 a.m. Next Thursday, if that would be possible.
I
Or
would really love Attila to be there. I don't know, maybe is there another day that we could schedule to, I mean, it doesn't have to be on the last day. It could be another day where we can have everybody that was a part of this whole thing be present. I mean,
or
I don't
maybe
know.
on your last day, Attila, on the 28th, when you're there in person, we could have like a little get together at ODY once you're wrapped up.
Yeah, do it then.
And then I could do a call in with PRC, how we did last time. And then, Jimmy just set everything up outside. If we could have a little discussion about the 28th and then have that set up for the 5th. You're going to be done by noon on the 28th, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna wrap up, but I can stay longer. But I was gonna work with them through lunch as my training commitment, and then I can either go out in the field and look at more of the trail before, to finalize a prescription, or we have a group lunch with them. Your call. I just can't do the 4th, 5th, or 6th because of a workshop we're doing in TRC that's already scheduled in the works.
Right. Can we do the 28th at noon, Virginia?
For the luncheon or for the recognition?
To talk about the last day?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Or if you do it the following week, I mean, after they're done, they could come back too, possibly, if they're interested.
Are you talking about the following week, have the youth come out and then be recognized?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Virginia? Instead of the 5th, it would be outside their work schedule, but it'd just be like a little ceremony for 1 hour where we recognize them. We have Attila be able to talk. We could arrange and have more time for Navajo Times Gallup Independent to come out, but sometime this week of August 9th.
That would be fine.
Maybe Rita and Leonard could be there as well. So you'd have chapter representation, chapter leadership there, and really build it up for these kids.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Need their parents there if you can manage it.
Yeah.
We need lots of photographs if you get permission. And we could have Alverna come and take photos unless there's someone else that would rather do that.
We have permission, we have waiver forms for our students, so they can sign it. So yeah, we have those already. So what time can we do it at 10, or what time is a good time, Attila, for everybody to be available on August 9th?
Well, I think there's a couple of questions we can't answer yet. One is, would Leonard or Rita be available? Would the kids' parents be available? So maybe it has to be a late afternoon kind of happy hour idea where, parents and others could be there for the kids.
We can do invites, right, Daniel? Let's do some invites to them and then they can do their confirmation. But I'm thinking that the morning, because I want to invite my director too. I want to let her know what, what we did with our employment and who was all involved. And I do want her to see our partners with this project.
Would they be available by the afternoon, Virginia?
That's fine, because I want to do maybe some hamburgers and hot dogs. At least serve a meal.
So maybe we could do it at noon,
Hakoshi?
and then maybe if the parents are in town, then they could have their lunch break to do it and plan around that.
That would be good. I like that.
Okay. I'll do.
And then I'm thinking that we can give out certificates too.
Okay. I'll do the agenda and then the invitation. So I'll send those two things over for AJ and then this invitation. And then that way they could be notified in advance. Or if Felicia
Okay.
just gives them a heads up too on the 9th at noon.
Latasha, did you or Sheldon take notes of this call?
I'm recording it too, so I'll send out the link whenever it's done
Okay.
uploading.
That's better.
Yeah, I'm taking some notes too.
Thanks, Sheldon.
It'll be good to see you, Sheldon. Haven't seen you in ages.
I know, right? It's been a while.
Yeah.
He's just gotten more handsome.
So Virginia, if you need help with food items, you can let us know.
Okay.
And Crown Point chapter can assist with the food on that day.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll give you a call on it, Felicia.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Well, we're about out of time, but that's what we'll do for next steps. Everything gets going next week, but we'll plan on the 28th to have a noon meeting where we'll describe, talk about the 9th, go over last minute details. By tomorrow, Virginia, I'll have that memo, the calendar for the students. And then the last thing, which was, what was the last thing I was doing for the 9th?
Invitations?
Oh yeah, the invitations. I'll have that already by tomorrow. So you could get that out there as soon as possible to get them confirmed. And then up until the 28th, when we have our meeting, I'm already doing a press release right now announcing our Clean and Beautiful program, but I'll have a story detailed by the 28th as well. So we could approve that and then give Navajo Times, Gallup Independent, whoever, at least a week and a half to get that confirmed. So I'll have that story draft by that Wednesday. But other than that, seems like it's in order.
Dan, I have a quick question. Did you need an updated tax exempt form?
I think so. Whatever Sally had needed, I think the main thing was having that number.
It's okay, because the one we sent you is a couple years old, and we wrote a letter to IRS, and they sent us the same kind of letter. It's just updated, and it said if other organizations need it, just to give them that copy of that letter. So if you need an updated one, we can forward that to you.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I just checked my email and I got your letter
Okay.
regarding the shed, so I could submit that, Attila's safety letter and the new one all together, and I think we should be covered.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
All right then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Good afternoon, Couple Chapter.